I'm Hesta Prynn, DJ and licensed therapist. This is Music is Therapy. Your session starts now. A Jay-Z lyric changed my net worth. That's honestly, the most New York thing I've ever said. Let me tell you exactly what happened. So I grew up thinking that real artists didn't build wealth. That was my brother's lane. He was the finance guy. And then I got into my 30s and I started to wonder, what was the financial plan for me? How'd it work? Did you just make $1 million and then put it in the bank and then go buy a house one day? I didn't see that ever happening. And then one day I heard this Jay-Z lyric and it changed everything. So the record 444 had just come out and I wanted to listen to it. So I put in my headphones, right? My wired headphones probably. And I go to the health food store 3 blocks from my apartment where I would go for lunch. And I sat down, I got my salad, and I'm listening to this song called The Story of OJ. This song is about stereotypes. It's about financial stereotypes. And I'm listening, and Jay-Z's telling the story of an opportunity he had to buy a building in Dumbo for $2 million, which then sold for $25 million. And he's like, who's the Dumbo? It's me. Okay, so the next thing he says is this. You know what's more important than throwing away money at the strip club? Credit. Ever wonder why Jewish people own all the property in America? That's how they did it. Now, I'm Jewish, right? This lyric hit me like a lightning bolt, okay? And I stood up, I stood up at the table. I stood up and I left my salad because it hit me so hard, right? I had some dollars, but I had perfect credit because I was taught that. That stereotype is actually part of my money story, to never have credit card debt and always have perfect credit. And it occurred to me in that moment that I could borrow against my perfect credit and I could actually buy property and begin to create a legacy. I never thought of it before. So I walked back to my apartment 3 blocks away. And my plan was to go upstairs and tell my husband, I'm going to buy a studio apartment in New York City. And I'm walking back to my building and I'm thinking, I'm going to buy an apartment. And I go in the back door of my building on 40th Street. You had to have this key fob to get in the back door. Right? So you had to live there to have it. And this man comes in behind me and we get in the elevator together. This tall, handsome, older man that I probably would have seen before. And he looks at me, I have pink hair. And he said, do I know you? And I said, do I know you? Do you live in this building? And he says, well, I don't live here, but I've owned an apartment here for 40 years. And I've had this amazing tenant, but now she's elderly and she's moving out. And so I came here to see the apartment and I'm going to renovate it and I'm going to sell it. And it's bittersweet. And I said, well, I'm actually in the market for a studio apartment in this building. Do you want to show it to me? And he's like, yeah. So we get off on the 12th floor and we walk to the end of the hall and he opens the door to this apartment. It's teeny tiny, right? It's 300 square feet, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It has an unobstructed view of the East River. It has these pre-war windows with beveled glass and original crystal doorknobs. And I'm the vibe in this apartment is amazing. And he tells me, I had a lot of firsts in this apartment. And he started to tell me about living in New York 40 years ago. And he's a gay man and they would go to Fire Island and that a lot of the guys who used to hang out in this apartment aren't here anymore, right? So it was a really special place. And I said to him, I would like to buy this apartment from you. And he's like, really? And I said, yes, really, I'd like to buy this apartment from you. And he said, well, I'd really like to sell this apartment to you. And so we're standing there and he took out his phone and he goes through Street Easy and he figures out the average price of a studio apartment in this building. He hit the price right in the middle and he's like, this is the average and this is what I'll sell it to you for. And I said, great, I'll buy it. And we left together and went back to the elevator. He went down and went home and I went upstairs to the 16th floor and I walked in and I said to my husband, I just bought an apartment in this building. This lyric changed me instantly from I can't to what if I could. And I bought the apartment. I still own it. I didn't overthink it. I didn't spiral. You see, who I actually was before I heard the lyric and who I became after was completely different. I saw myself as someone who could not have things and build assets and build equity. And then I heard this lyric and I saw myself as someone who could. Thoughts don't create behavior. Identity does. And money doesn't change when you think differently. It changes when you see yourself differently. And music gives you access to a different identity. This is what this podcast is all about. Welcome to the first episode of DJ Hesta Prynn's Music is Therapy. I'm a DJ and a licensed therapist, and over the years, I've watched something happen, really over and over again. People don't change because they get more information. They change when they start to see themselves differently, and music does that faster than almost anything. So, every month on this show, we're taking one area of life and we're working with it through music, not as entertainment, but it will be fun, but as a tool. I'll bring in experts I trust and pair their insights with the right records so you can feel the shift, not just understand it, right? Not just get it here. And this isn't about fixing yourself. It's about stepping into a version of you that already exists and letting the music help you get there. This is not just a podcast, okay? This is a mix of what I do with my patients and what I do on the dance floor. And later in the year, you're going to hear from real people doing this work. You're going to hear their dreams, their songs, and what shifted, because I want you to see this method in action, not just in theory. And first up is money. Here's why we're starting here and the science behind it. So for many people, money triggers a threat response, right? When you think about money, your prefrontal cortex, that's the newer part of your brain, the younger one that has like reasons and tells stories, it literally shuts down and you go into freeze or panic, fight or flight. This is biology. This isn't like your character. This is because you're a human. You can't think your way into a new money identity, but music bypasses the resistance and goes straight to this part of your brain, into the emotional centers where identity, memory, and behavior live. A lyric to a song is like a key. It unlocks a different version of you fast. What happened to me with that Jay-Z line? That's what I'm teaching you how to do intentionally, not by accident. Everyone has a money soundtrack, right? That's like your stories and how it feels. There's the one you inherited and the one you're living now, and the one that matches the life you actually want. Sometimes they're very different. The Money Month playlist that I made is linked in the show notes, and every song is there for a reason, to help you shift your frequency on purpose. This month, you're going to hear conversations with people who think deeply about money, but from very different angles. Jean Chatzky talks about how we inherit our money patterns and how to work with them. Kate Northrup speaks about capacity, energy, and timing. And my friend, New York Times journalist David Gillis, explores the meaning of wealth itself. And he shares how Biggie helps him handle money when he feels uncomfortable. Each conversation looks at money through a different lens, but they all come back to the same question. Who do you believe you're allowed to be? Here's what I want you to try this month. Write down your money dream. So not how you'll get it, not when, just the thing you actually want, the one that you are too embarrassed or too scared to say out loud, okay? And then choose one song from the Money Month playlist or one of your own and just live with it. Listen to it in the morning, listen to it at night, and just notice what comes up. You don't need to get this right. You don't need to force anything. Just let the song work on you and let the month do the rest. And if you feel like sharing, do not forget I am a licensed clinician. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Hesta Prynn Music with the song you picked. And if you want to go deeper with this work, I teach the full method in my Music Connection therapy course. The link is in the show notes. Money Month is not about budgeting. It's about unlearning the stories that keep you from stepping into what you want. For me, that meant the emotional programming that told me I couldn't have things, that I couldn't be this type of person. And with Jay-Z's help of all people, do love Jay-Z, best rapper alive, I chose the identity of someone who absolutely can. I'm DJ Hesta Prynn. This is Music is Therapy. I am so happy that you're here. Your session starts now. DJ Hesta Prynn's Music is Therapy is a production of iHeart Podcasts. I'm your host, DJ Hesta Prynn. Our executive producers are Marissa Bramwell and Jonathan Strickland. Our associate producer is Jonathan Klopp. Our marketing lead is Allison Cantor-Grabler. That's it. That's episode 1.